Hey everybody, hope you're doing well. In today's quick tutorial, I'm going to show you how to make an awesome progress bar compared to FlutterFlow's very boring linear progress bar. Here, our progress bar has almost 60 bars and this can be customizable to your liking. And the color changes based on how much in progress the user is basically. And here I've set the value to be around 0.25%, 0.25%. And for example here, if we change it to 0.75 and then hot reloaded, this will basically be around here in terms of the green progress. So, and of course, this is a high coded value, and similarly to the normal progress bar, you can pass in a double denoting a percentage. This bar will be automatically based on whatever the value is from your database. So before I get started, remember to comment, like, and subscribe. And if you want to partner together or if you need assistance building your app, feel free to reach out. So let's get started. So first things first, what we need to do is create a component. And I'm just going to call this component progress bar or new progress bar. And what we need from this component is basically two sets of parameters. The first parameter is called total bar, and it's going to be a type integer, and it's going to be required. And the second one is of bar to fill. And then it's going to be of type integer as well, and it's a required field. And what we need here is basically these. And what I want to do next is generate dynamic children. So how many dynamic children do I need to generate? So you think about it, we need to generate dynamic children based on the total bars, and the coloring of those bars will be based on a bar to fill. So what do we need here? We need a custom code. So if we go to custom code and then go to custom function, I'm just going to call this generate dynamic children. And then it's going to be a type integer, and it's a list. And then I'm going to put number of children as an argument. And this is going to be an integer, and it's not going to be nullable. And so basically what we need to do here is I've written self code here, and this is the function itself. So what it does is basically generate a list of integer starting from 1. So it goes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, all the way to however many the argument of number of children is. So what's next here? What's next here is basically let's create that progress bar. So I'm going to add a row briefly. It's going to be an unconstrained row, and I'm going to add a container. The container is going to have a height of, let's say, 20, maybe 100, just to make it nicer. The width is going to be 5 bars, so a bit clearer for you to see. Of course, you can change the border radius to be nicer or whatever. I'm just going to make this a orange bar, so it's clean and so you can easily see it. What I want to do here now next is generate dynamic children, and I'm just going to call this total bars on the row. Generate dynamic children on the row and total bars, and we're going to use that custom function we just created of generate dynamic children, and the number of children we need is the total bars because that's how many bars we want to generate, and basically that generates the bar. Let's add a bit of spacing here. So item spacing, let's pull it to maybe 3. And then let's distribute this evenly. Or around, sorry. So the difference between evenly around is, or space between, is place the free space evenly between the children element. And then space around is place the free space evenly between the child elements with some extra space at the beginning and the end. So let's do, I think this one probably looks a bit better. Of course, we can play around with it to see what it suits your needs, but let's do space between for now. So although you see 4 bars here, if the number is 60, if the total bar is 60, then it actually populates 60 bars in total here. So what's next after this? So what's next is the fill color. Because we want to show progress based on a different color, what we need to do is basically tell this widget or this component, what bars to fill based on the bars to fill versus the total bar. So bars to fill, I'm going to be passing arguments like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, all the way up to the max number, denoting 100%. Hence, the container is going to be of this condition. It's going to be a conditional value if, it's going to be a single condition if the bars to fill value is still greater than or equal to the current value of the total bars item, then we make it green, else we make it orange. This basically means, so if the bars to fill is the say value of 3, and the total bar item, which is denoting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, etc. If 3 is greater than 1, let's populate to be green, else it's orange. So that means if, let's say there's total of 10 bars, so 1 all the way to 10, and then bars to fill is 3, it will populate first 3 bars, and the remaining bars are orange. I'll add a default value of orange and a UI builder value of orange. Nothing here, to be honest. It's just really blank. FlutterFlow doesn't really show it really well here, unfortunately. But it is what it is. So what is next? So next we need to determine how do we populate bars to fill. So what we need is basically a custom function that generates how many bars to fill based on how many total bars there are and what is the current progress. Let's just create a simple custom function called bar to fill. And then it's going to return an integer. And we're going to pass in a parameter called total bars. And then we're going to pass in called my progress. Let's just say that. So my progress. And this my progress field can be, depending on how you've structured your database, I'm just going to call it double. I'm thinking of my progress as a percentage. Maybe it's like 0.65%. Of course, you can calculate that, but 0.65% times the total number of bars, we round it down. That will give us the number of bars required to pass into the component. So I'm just going to ask Copilot here and see how well it does. Multiply my progress percentage by total bars and round it down. The reason why we're rounding it down is because we don't want 99%. Let's just say we don't want to round it up because the user has achieved 99%. We don't want to show all full bars completed. We want to round it down. So it looks right here. So it basically goes total bars times my progress percentage floor. So basically that's rounding it down. So let's let this custom checker do its work. So what's next here? So let's do this. Let's add my progress here. Let's add this progress bar to the page. So let's call this new progress bar. And then what I want to do is pass a 60 bar of 60 and then progress to be 0. Bars to fill to be a custom function. So the bars to fill we just created is bars to fill custom function. The total bar is 60 to keep it in line. And then the value is 0.5, hypothetically saying. So let's confirm that. And let me local run this to show you how it works. So now that the app has loaded, you can see here, this is the progress bar of 50%. So around half the bars filled and half of them is not. So let's just say I update this to be 0.25 to be clearer for you. And then hot reload this again. So hopefully this will show approximately here. So you can see around 25% of the bar is filled. So that's how you can make a really good looking progress bar. Although it versus the typical, typical progress bar that's here, that's solid. And it looks pretty boring. So you can see here, if it's just a line, it's pretty boring. While this one, it actually is pretty cool. Well, it actually splits it into almost tiny percentages. Hope you like this quick tutorial, and remember, comment, like, and subscribe for more content FlutterFlow. See you next time. Bye.